Are you ready to work on yourself? Are you ready to find the answers, whether they're what you want to hear or not? Are you ready to hear them? Are you ready to discover them? And then are you ready to take action on them? Because sometimes in life we want change. I want to change the way I think about this. I want to change the way I think about myself. I want to change the way I think about my life. I want to change how I feel on a daily basis. I'm fed up of feeling this way or that way. I want to change this area. It could be career. It could be something health related, body shape related, fitness related. It could be financial related. It could be social related, your social circle, your social environments. There could be something that you want to change or even do. And there's a want. Okay, there's a want there. But again, what's that missing piece? Okay, the missing piece is being ready. Being ready to take action.
This podcast was brought to you by Record and Repurpose, because we believe that the conversation should be the content that you're producing, not only to help you be known, liked and trusted by the people who are looking for what it is that you have to say, but also so you can appear in whatever form of content that that person is consuming. Press record once and get multiple different content assets that you can distribute across your social media platforms. For more information, visit recordandrepurpose.com. Thank you so much for your support. And now let's get back to the episode.
Yes. So we kind of are back in the mix of getting some podcasts recordings done. There's been a little bit of a break due to some of our projects and the time that's required to kind of go into the things that we've been doing for BeOne in multiple areas. We had a very successful year in 2025 and it kind of kept steaming to 26, and it just kind of took me personally away from being able to kind of record kind of podcasts like this, which I feel I've got a passion for. And I wanted to do one today around something that it's not just kind of BeOne related. This is kind of me in essence related, whether I'm coaching someone through a one-to-one level, in a group level, if I'm delivering a workshop or some content for BeOne. I think the message is very relevant. And I think that we've had to work very smartly with BeOne because we are a not-for-profit, a community interest company, so a KIC. So we are a charity in essence. We then necessarily kind of fall into the mental health bracket or the wellness circle. But if you know myself and know my journey and my change, it was very much about me taking responsibility for my life, for who I was, for how I thought, for my actions, my behaviours. As if you follow me, you'd have heard this regurgitated so many times. But what we really needed to do was to identify, like, how do we get this across more? So yes, from a charity perspective and an organisation that is put in the bracket of supporting mental health, although we do more around that, I personally believe and like to call it personal development over mental health. I think personal development encapsulates so much more. So I would say BeOne Mindset is a personal development company, organisation. And one of the key things that splits us is that when we deliver a couple of things. Knowledge, okay? So the knowledge is based off lived experience, yes, but also studied experience. I've invested a lot of time in understanding a lot more about the brain, a lot more about the mind, the difference between the two and how they connect, a lot more about the body and the connection between the mind and the body, a lot more around emotions, our nervous system, ultimately our behaviours, the psychology aspect around that as well. And these kind of things I went into study originally were to help me on my own journey. And then as I started to gain traction and saw substantial change within me, it was like, I potentially could help other people with this. But those people needed to be potentially people that wanted to work on themselves. And I think that's where I wanted to drop this podcast today, because I think that even when I stated that then, there's still a missing element, there's still a missing piece. And I feel that's what B1 feels, which is like the word ready. Are you ready to work on yourself? Are you ready to find the answers, whether they're what you want to hear or not? Are you ready to hear them? Are you ready to discover them? And then are you ready to take action on them? Because sometimes in life we want change. I want to change the way I think about this. I want to change the way I think about myself. I want to change the way I think about my life. I want to change how I feel on a daily basis. I'm fed up of feeling this way or that way. I want to change this area. It could be career. It could be something health related, body shape related, fitness related. It could be financial related. It could be social related, your social circle, your social environments. There could be something that you want to change or even do. And there's a want. Okay, there's a want there. But again, what's that missing piece? Okay, the missing piece is being ready. Being ready to take action. Being ready to be honest with yourself and understand it clearly enough so that it creates some form of strategic plan that then is in front of you. And that's where ownership comes into place. The ownership is then on you to make the moves, take action. And this is based again off this part now is lived experience. And that's why I'm never ashamed to speak this, because this was living proof. For 30 years of my life, I shied away from this. I hid away from it, and I hid away from it getting smashed on alcohol, smashed on drugs, getting smashed in a cage fighting, because ultimately the pain and lack of confidence and vision and will of making myself a better person was just so low and on the floor through things that had happened throughout my life, that I was trying to find things to either make me feel good within the moment or just to help me escape from being in my own head and my own body. And it wasn't until I started to realize 1 minute, like, this is just not right. This isn't what I want. But ultimately, there's only one I can resent and hate and blame and all these other things, which kind of is where I started to kind of fall into. And that was with myself as well as others. And the acceptance of understanding is so key. So this is what I want to pose to yourselves listening to this. Is like, you can be different levels of the spectrum as well. Meaning sometimes when I'm working with someone, they could be in a really kind of tough predicament, okay, within life. Something's happened, they're in a tough predicament, whether externally something's happened, internally something's happened. They might be feeling extremely low. Sometimes obviously kind of the lowest of the low, the severity of that. For other individuals, it may just be they want to empower themselves and find change and find something to go and drive into and just discover that something within them that everyone has got. And it's just understanding, how do I find that and how to propel from that? And it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum, the principle is still the same. The principle is still like, okay, so let me start to understand this thing right here. If you're listening to this, not watching it, I'm tapping my head. Okay, so let me start to understand how my brain is wired currently, wired the correct terminology. Okay, our brain formulates over the years of our life. I am now 40. My brain has experienced a hell of a lot, has watched, has listened to, has been around, and it's starting to form how my brain has collated memories, created perspectives, personality traits, characteristics, all of these things that have turned me into the person I am today. But my identity shifted. So something that I work with a lot with B1 is your identity. Like, who is Ben? Like, what is Ben's identity? And when I work with someone on this, what's really interesting is I'm a completely different person than I was 10 years ago. I was a completely different person 10 years prior to that. So even though I potentially have an identity that I could say this is Ben now, I know I'll be a different person in 10 years' time. Because again, I'll have progressed in different ways. I'll have probably overcome more challenges that are going to come up. I might have met new people and have different social interactions. Things may have happened where I've created new beliefs and new ideologies about the world, about myself, about the life. So you've got to allow the malleability of your identity to change. The question is, within the present, are you happy with the identity, your identity, who you are? who you are on a day-to-day basis, how you think and how you feel on a day-to-day basis, and how you behave. Now, you may say, no, I'm really not happy with any of that. For me, that's your staple. And it's like, well, if you're telling me right now you're really unhappy with how you think, how you feel, and how you behave, do you want to change? Yeah, I really want to change. Are you ready to change? And that's the question. Because some people could say, no, I really do want it, Ben. I really want to change. I'm like, it's all well and good saying you want, but are you ready to take action? And this is the pivotal bit, which is the start generally isn't an actual action. It's self-awareness. It's starting to understand, right, okay, so as hard as it is, I just need to understand a little bit what is going on within my mind. So when I'm delivering workshops for BeOne, I talk about pattern recognition. So without giving too much away, we do tasks around self-awareness on thoughts, thinking patterns, both negative and positive, triggers, stored memories, all of these kind of things. I get them to brainstorm and write down. And then we look for pattern. Pattern recognition is huge. So can we start to see a pattern of a negative train of thoughts or a negative thinking cycle that happens on a consistent basis? Is this being triggered off something external? So whenever I see this person or whenever I go into this environment, it suddenly triggers me to think this way. Is it being triggered off something that's happened in the past that you just can't let go of? Okay, or it's just something in the past that's kind of formulated again, a wiring within the brain, that whenever you hear a song potentially, whenever you see or smell something, that's how powerful kind of our senses are, it triggers back to a memory. The memory then triggers a thought process, and then suddenly we're catastrophizing or visualizing something that potentially has happened in the past, could happen in the future, may not happen in the future, but we're still painting a picture of what it could be. And the empowerment is actually, you can transition all of this. I don't believe you can delete memories. That's what I definitely coach. Shit that's happened in the past is always going to be there. It's what you allow it. It's what you allow that to do to you now that's the most important thing. And that's when I dip into emotion. So if you ever come to one of BeOne's meds models, the E in the meds is on emotions. We talk about what emotions are, the difference between emotions and feelings, how we can detach from emotions, but also how it's important to feel emotions and not run away from them, not hide them, not bury them, actually understand them, and then understand how you express them in a behavior. And I think everything that I'm talking about now is what we deliver through our workshops. But ultimately, is when I stand at the front and I'm talking to people, or I'm sat in front of someone on a one-to-one level talking to them, it's like me, or you've just got to be ready to now go and implement it. And I can't do that for you. That someone can sit with me or go in a workshop and finish thinking, man, that was groundbreaking. That's a breakthrough. I've never thought about things like that. I've never taken that perspective. I've never delved that deep. I've never given myself the time to actually understand what's going on in my mind and my brain, and look at how my life is patterned, and how that may be affecting me. And I'm like, right, okay, so you've just done all of that and it's giving you something. Now, when you walk away from me, I personally, Ben, can't do anything. It's got to be you. You've just now got a load of information down that is power for you to understand, right, these things are not helping my life. These things are hindering myself. These things are negative beliefs. These things are negative thoughts. I have got the power to transition and change them. Okay? Obviously, I give tools and techniques, so I'm not saying like I don't help people understand, like with all that information now, go away and start to implement some of these tasks to start to transition your way of thinking, or be able to break thought and thinking cycles, and also encourage when we do the structure element of meds. The last one is S, so MEDS, the last one is S for structure. It's structuring things to make us feel positive emotions, make us feel good, structuring things in that enable us to control our weeks a little bit better. But in essence, again, even when that comes into place, I could do the structure module and do the workshop and get them to create. And it's not about like 8 a.m. wake up, do this, 9 a.m. do this, 10 a.m. It's nothing to do with that. It's just about looking at your week now. How in control of it are you? Is your week taking control of you, and you're sat there saying like, I'm really unhappy in life, or I'm not achieving what I want to achieve? And it's like, well, why don't you take control of your week and actually set it up so that you are going to be doing things that are going to be either transitioning you to be the person you want to be, or you've got things in there that are making you feel good, bringing you positive, good fucking emotions. Do you know what I mean? Which echo then into the head. You start to feel better about yourself. You start to have better thoughts. You start to have better perspectives on yourself and your life. And that's the feedback loop of emotions in the mind. That's the power of it. It is an actual feedback loop. The big question is what sparks first. Now, there's certain parts of the brain that will trigger a biochemical reaction that releases something within the body that creates an emotion. The emotion is what the brain attaches the word, though. So the word, joy, excitement, love, fear, anxiety, that's a word. The brain has created the word, the biochemical reaction those come from the mid part of the brain. It stimulates something, biochemical reaction. And this is how entwined they are. This is how closely knit they are, which is why if you ever heard of kind of like mindfulness exercises, whether you believe in meditation or not, mindfulness is just mind-body connection. So it's nothing to do with spirituality, although they use it a lot within that. But this is just actually you helping your nervous system. So if you look into neuroscience, okay, this is proven. This is research heavy proven. The ability to be mindful and connect and have the connection from mind and body, to slow brain waves down through different techniques, breath work being a prime example. And this generally happens through sleep anyway. The heart rate drops, breathing should slow down, cortisol levels drop, we go into a state of recovery, we're fully relaxed because obviously we're asleep. But we can do this on a daily basis anyway, like I talk about downregulation a lot, especially with the people that I coach. We can downregulate all of the time. You don't have to wait till a bad situation to downregulate. We can downregulate anytime. Even if you're in a positive state, in a good place, it's still nice to go and do something that downregulates. You are aiding your nervous system. You are training your nervous system. So I'm tangent. This is like the first podcast back, and I'm like just kind of rattling off with loads of different things. So in essence, I'm going to wrap it up because I want to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to do more of these, and I'll probably pinpoint little bits and go a little bit more in depth because I want to give information that you can actually apply, understand and apply. That's the aim of these. But the key kind of thing that I want you to take away from this, and it might not be an answer, but it's something to think about. Do you understand the difference between wanting something and being ready? And being ready, I mean, literally, I'm ready to take action on it. I'm ready to do something, okay? Or do you just want it? I want change. I want to achieve this, or I want to stop feeling and thinking this. So you've got two ways there. You could be in a positive place and just want to achieve higher or achieve something different. You could be in a really low, bad place and want change in terms of I want to feel and think better. Doesn't matter which one of those are in, they both require you to take action. To take action, you've got to be ready. Okay, you're not going to want it, you've got to be ready, because sometimes when you take action, things don't go to plan. Things aren't as easy as they seem. You do hit barriers, you do hit walls. There are negative things that will happen, that is life. So being ready is being ready for those that happen and not let that stop you. So that's what we say with BeOne. You may not be ready to do this just yet. If someone is in a really bad mental state, they might want change, but they just need to sit with it a little bit longer and potentially seek out a little bit more support, because we are very much more proactive in terms of, right now it is take action time, and it is be able to face the adversity and negativity that may come. But when we walk through that, the other side is where you find your strength. And that's what BeOne is all about. But again, that's not for everyone, but it is for some. And the identification model is what we're trying to make a lot clearer. So something to sit with. Do you want some form of change? Question, are you ready for it? Are you ready to take action on it? And then you might think, well, I am ready, but I just don't exactly know what to do. I promise you I'm going to do another podcast that'll give you information in terms of understanding how to strategize that, how to strategize a want into an action plan for ready. And then it's picking up momentum to take on to that. Okay. Been good to be back on a mic. Some more of these will be coming out. Lots of things hopefully moving forward with BeOne. Thank you for all of the support that everyone's always given and continues to give, that believe obviously in the methods that we kind of bring out. And I look forward to either seeing you soon if you're around my circle within BeOne, or listening if you're kind of picking up on this. I appreciate your time.